Hey, Yinz guys and gals, gather round for a journey like no other. It's time to hop on board the Where Yinz Goin podcast. From the rivers that meet at the point to form downtown Pittsburgh, to the Great Salt Lake, to the furthest corners of the globe, Matt and Katie will be your compass, your confidants, your companions of that, as we explore the wonders of travel. So kick back, relax on your couch, and let the wanderlust wash over Yinz as we discover new horizons and reminisce about old favorites. With Matt and Katie by our side, the sky's the limit. Join Matt and Katie on the Where Yinz Goin podcast, because when it comes to travel, the journey's just getting started. And now, without further ado, let's give a shout for your guides through the highways and byways of travel, the planning partners, the travel tandem, Matt and Katie.
How Yinz doing? Welcome to the Where Yinz Goin podcast. I'm Matt. I'm one of your hosts. Joining me again today is my co-host Katie. How you doing today, Katie?
I'm doing great, Matt. How are you?
I'm lovely.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
So, speaking of love, next week is the most romantic day of the year, sort of. So, next week's Valentine's Day. So, to get into the mood for that, we figured we would talk about Valentine's Day, but with a little bit of a twist to it. So, we all know how we celebrate in the United States. It's the going on a date night, going to dinner, the flowers, the candy, things along those lines. But what do other people around the world do? And along those lines, if you ever want to go and celebrate Valentine's Day with other people, you now know how to do it. So we're going to go through every single country in the world to see how they. No, we're not going to do that. Although we have a list of about 25 or so. So we're going to go through seeing what they do, when they do it. Not everyone celebrates on February 14th. Some of them celebrate on different days of the year. So we're just going to see some of the traditions of people around the world, and maybe if something catches your attention, that you can now plan a new uh, Valentine's trip or create your own new Valentine's tradition.
I love the idea of like pulling out a globe or a map or just a picture of the world on your phone and kind of getting like a little glimpse into like what different nations and how different people celebrate love and friendship and all good things. It's kind of fun to like, hear all about these different places and how each one of them has something to offer. And I think that's kind of ties into what we do, right? With travel, that every place you get to explore, every new place that you have the opportunity to travel from just brings a little extra knowledge into your list of things that you know about and makes for memories that are great. So I think this is a really fun and kind of a different direction for our podcast usually, but just a great way to talk about some really great destinations that we can book for you, but how they celebrate Valentine's Day.
And I think Katie has experienced this whenever she's traveled abroad as well, is that whenever you go to a place that has a different culture, that there's something so amazing and fascinating about experiencing the other culture, but then there's also something about noticing the similarities. And so it's the similarities tie us together, but the differences want to make us want to come back to experience it again. And that's what intrigues us, and that's what's so nice. But that familiarity of things of, oh, we all do this, it ties you together and brings that little bit of home, even when you're really far away. And so whenever we go through these, you're going to see some things that are going to be pretty familiar with what we do, and other things a little bit different. But still, the different things like, oh, that's really pretty neat.
I love this. All right, so should we start off with Mexico?
Yeah, so we're going to go region by region. We're going to start with all these countries do celebrate Valentine's Day on February 14th. So we're going to go through all that. We'll go through the different regions, and then we'll bring in the countries that celebrate on different days throughout the year. So here's the thing: you can do your Valentine's Day trip, and with time zone and stuff, you could like do several countries all on one day. Okay, that's a lot of travel. But then you can also plan in your other ones of, oh, we did Valentine's Day now. Let's celebrate it in this other country when they do their Valentine's Day.
I like this
So
idea.
Yeah. So North America, we're going to go with Mexico. So it is the Day of Love and Friendship. And so you see some similarities that people will exchange flowers and they give stuffed animals and the balloons and the cards and things along those lines. But there's really no distinction between uh, sharing your showing your love, whether it's a romantic love or more of a platonic love. So there's a little bit of an iffy thing here that you might be caught in the friend zone that you keep getting stuff from someone on Valentine's Day, but it's not that type of Valentine.
So a lot of these destinations that we're going to talk about, I'm going to get giddy about the idea of food because food is kind of my love language. And I love the fact that in Mexico, and a lot of the times, especially like Mexico City, they set up little stands that sell roses and chocolate covered churros that are dusted in cinnamon. I think that that's a kind of a great way to celebrate Valentine's Day with a little bit of extra sweetness, I guess. Um, they also have mariachi bands that play love songs and they exchange gifts. It seems kind of a little bit similar to what we do here. But that extra thing of that you might not need to have like someone special, but you can celebrate your friendships too.
And Katie just mentioned the churros. Churro is actually Spanish for love. Okay, it's not, but it should be.
Yep, for sure.
So, but is there a better way to share to show that you love someone than sharing a churro with them?
Churros they're just such a great little treat, little snack of
It's
sweet.
love embodied. So,
That's
yeah.
right.
All right. Jumping across the pond, we're going to go to Europe-ish. So we're going to start with England, and we'll do United Kingdom area, and then we'll go into actual mainland Europe. So this will vary by region in England. And one of the neat things there is that kids will sing special songs. And then if they sing it well, or if they sing, you know, if they actually participate, okay? I don't think they're going to be judging the kids on their singing talent, but they get rewarded with candy and fruit and money. So I know we've bribed my little girl whenever she's had little performances. Okay, do well, and here's what you get. So I guess that's a way to get kids to really get into the singing.
So it seems like it's kind of like maybe a little bit like trick or treat, but they work for their treats, right? I liked that one of the descriptions that I read on about England and Valentine's is that the kids they don't just sing Valentine's rhymes, but they're cheeky, so they have a little bit of spice to them, and I imagine that the little ones love the fact of like taking part in something that's kind of funny and they feel a little bit like they're like playing like a little bit they're a little bit spicy or saucy. It's kind of a fun little thing.
It's doing something that's a little bit borderline naughty that you're not supposed
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
It's like my little girl, she learned some of the offshoots of Christmas carols,
Yeah.
and or and like and even you mentioned Halloween, the trick or treat, smell my feet stuff, or singing Jingle Bells, Batman smells, and so she gets really into that. So anything that's a little bit off, the normal, and again could be considered. You're not really supposed to say that. Let's do it. Yeah,
I
they're
loved
all
it.
in. And if you get rewarded with candy or money for it, hey, all the better, right?
Right.
So
So
another,
I
go
could
ahead.
picture like planning a like a trip to England and like sitting and sipping tea and like and just enjoying this. England is on my bucket list of trips that I really want to take. And I can just picture like taking that all in and then having like the extra little magic of a little bit of like a Valentine's Day celebration. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Another thing they'll do is they bake Valentine buns that have plums, raisins, or caraway seeds in it. And this goes back to a celebration of having a good harvest from years and years ago, baking those buns. Although in February, I don't think they're harvesting too much in England. So it's like carryover from the fall. So, Ireland. This is something that's really, really neat that you can go to the Shrine of Saint Valentine. And so it's a lot of people on Valentine's Day will make a pilgrimage to the Church of Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Dublin, and this church houses the relics of Saint Valentine. So the actual Saint Valentine of Rome, who was martyred for performing secret weddings for soldiers. That the namesake. This is where it comes from. You can go to. It's not, I guess, the home of Valentine's Day, but it's the resting place of Valentine's Day. I don't know.
So I love I love the story. I guess Saint Valentine's is a little bit of a mystery. There's multiple saints that are named Valentine in Christian history, um, but the one that they think that the whole story is about, he was a Roman priest, and he went ahead and, like you said, Matt, performed secret marriages for Christian couples. Despite the Emperor Claudius's ban on young men marrying, Claudius felt like single soldiers were much more effective in battle. So he was caught, Valentine was caught, he was imprisoned, where he supposedly healed the jailer's blind daughter. And before his execution on February 14th, he left her a note and signed Your Valentine, inspiring the tradition of love letters.
That's go ahead, talk. I'm a bit verklempt right now. I'll give you a topic. Rhode Island is neither road nor an island. Discuss. No, it's such a sweet story though.
Yeah,
The
and Ireland has kind of that feel of like romance and like just really pretty and scenic, and be a great place to go ahead and visit with your Valentine.
and if you're into it, down a couple pints of Guinness. So yeah.
Right.
And I've mentioned on here before, but back whenever I was in college and my sister and I went to Germany to visit my now brother-in-law, that we flew over, the flight we took was a red eye. And as we were flying over Ireland, it was sunrise. And so we had the sun coming up, hitting the green of Ireland. And, they called the Emerald Isle for a reason. Oh my goodness. From 30,000 feet up, seeing the green of Ireland was so, so gorgeous. And me being like a third Irish anyway, that's a place that I definitely need to get to.
Yeah, for sure. So our next one, France.
You can't get more romantic than Paris, right?
No, you can't. And I think that when you think of France, you think of like the streets of Paris that are alive with romance on Valentine's Day. But there's also lots of little spots in France that you can go ahead and feel the romance without maybe like following the cliche of Paris, which Paris is never a cliche. It is a beautiful city and alive and beautiful, but there's other places. I think sometimes when like here we think of New York's, sometimes if you're not from New York or you don't have a lot of experience with the state of New York, if you say New York, people think of New York City. And Paris or in France, people automatically kind of tie Paris back to France. But there's lots of little spots in Paris that have different ways of bringing romance. So,
That's an amazing analogy. I really, really like that. It's very true that, you think of New York is New York City, but traveling through upstate New York and through areas where it's just, rolling hills and a little bit of mountains and, you know, very small towns. My dad and I, oh geez, when was this? Probably 10 years ago, we took a road trip one summer that we went to Niagara Falls. So drove from Pittsburgh to Niagara Falls, then drove to Cooperstown, New York to see the Hall of Fame, then drove down into Williamsport just because we were passing through. We decided to stop. We stopped at the Little League World Series, where they hold the Little League World Series. There's a Little League Hall of Fame is there too. And just driving through all that rural area, it is nothing like a big city of New York. And you get the
yeah.
same thing in France that, yeah, there are the big cities like Paris and uh, Nice and wherever else, but you're going to get a lot of those nice little country villages where it's quaint, small town, away from everything, but so gorgeous.
If you ask the people of France what their story or their tie to Valentine's is, they'll probably mention the Duke of Orleans. Is credited with writing the first recorded Valentine's poem in 1415. He was captured at the Battle of Agincourt. I think that's Agincourt, and he spent 25 years in prison in the Tower of London. During his captivity, he wrote a poem for his wife, expressing his longing and devotion. And I would tell you what it is in French, but that would not be appropriate because I cannot speak French at all. Um, but the translation is, I'm already sick of love, my gentle Valentine. This heartfelt verse is considered one of the earliest references to Valentine's as a romantic holiday. Sadly, his wife passed away before Charles was ever released, making his words even more poignant and kind of a little bit sad.
Yeah, and the tradition of exchanging the letters and cards continues now in France. That they take on that tradition of sending their love letters to one another. And French is such a poetic, lovely language to just to hear. Like Katie, I do not speak French, so but just hearing the words, it just sounds beautiful.
It does. I bet you could get in some really doozy fights with your spouse in French and still sound like you were in love with each other. So,
Then there's some other language where you say hello, my dear, and it sounds like you're yelling at somebody. So
that's right.
that's the balance
That's
of it.
right. It's all about tone.
So let's uh, move a little bit east into Germany.
Oh, I'm excited to talk about this one. I did a little bit of diving into this one because I wanted to figure out why.
So, of course, lovers will exchange flowers and chocolates and pig shaped gifts, like little statues, little stuffed animals, things along those lines. It turns out that the pig is the symbol for luck and, in parentheses, and lust. So, you want to
So,
take it from there, Katie?
yeah, they've always been associated with good fortune in several cultures, especially in Germany and Austria. There's a phrase in German that literally means to have a pig, which means to be lucky. This comes from medieval times when owning pigs were a symbol of prosperity. If you had a pig, you knew you would never go hungry. In German tradition, pig figurines made of marzipan or chocolate are common New Year's gifts meant to bring luck for upcoming years. In some parts of Scandinavia, they're also linked to fertility and abundance. So, in the context of Valentine's Day, giving a pig as a gift symbolizes not only luck, but also playful affection, making it a unique and whimsical way to show love.
So, and I guess it really ties into whenever you know someone's kind of being a little bit too forward and call them a pig or a swine. I see. Guess it fits if you know it's a symbol for lust. So it you know
I
I
love
can
the idea if you have a pig, you never go hungry. And I kind of think like if like it's kind of a neat thing like to give a pig on Valentine's Day, because I guess if you give a pig to someone, you're never going without like they are not going without your love. Like I like that idea.
other things that they do is that they will give heart-shaped ginger cookies with love messages written in the icing. So get to have your I guess it's little candy hearts, but just a little bit upscale with now it's a cookie and icing and a little bit more elaborate. Heading a little bit farther south into Italy, another country that's, you know, very romantic. Italians are romantic, right? I would definitely say that. So here, couples will exchange gifts, and one of the more popular things is called baci and then porgina. So baci porgina, I'm guessing. Again, I don't speak Italian either. So these are small boxes of hazelnut-filled chocolate kisses, and baci in Italian means kiss, and then the Porgina, that's an Italian chocolate company. So it's basically the Italian equivalent to Hershey's Kisses, what they're given. Now, these will look a little bit bigger than what a Hershey Kiss is. Um, it's a little bit taller and has more of a cylindrical bottom and then has like the little nub on top where there's a little hazelnut sitting up there. And so each of these candies is going to have a small little love note that's inside the wrapper. And it's going to be written in one of seven languages, either Italian, English, French, German, Greek, Spanish, or Portuguese. So I guess they're cornering the market. They can, export these into other places. And I get maybe they're tied in with Google Translate or something too. So it's basically a combination of an Italian of the Hershey Kiss with your fortune cookie. That's giving
Yeah.
and the little candy hearts that have the little message written on them. So that's just a really neat thing. And the hazelnut with chocolate, yes, please.
I like the idea. I wonder if they and like a good pasta meal with that little treat because pasta seems like a really good Valentine's Day. Pasta in Italy must be amazing on Valentine's Day.
And you can channel your Lady and the Tramp and have the same strand of pasta, and then you can move the last meatball over with your nose to the other person. Just make sure you have enough napkins to wipe off, right?
This is true. Okay, so
And then
now the next one is a bit of a mystery. I like this. This is like kind of like a Sherlock Holmes or a twist on like a secret admirer.
So, the older tradition in Italy states that the first man that a single woman sees on Valentine's Day will either become her husband within the year, or the person that she marries will look like that person.
I wonder if they sell a lot of dark sunglasses during that time of year.
Well, some of the other ones, comments that I've read about it is that single women wake up and they're excited about it, and they're looking out the window to see who they're going to see. But all right, single guys, here's the thing: if there's someone you like, you go and you stand outside her window like it's 6 in the morning, and you just stay there outside of her house. So whenever she comes in, that's who she's going to see. Although the problem is, it's she's going to marry you or someone who looks like you. So if you have a twin, you might not want to do that. I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. So heading a bit north, we'll head to Scandinavia and well, Northern Europe and Scandinavia. So Denmark and Norway, they have similar traditions here that both friends and lovers will exchange all manner of lovers cards. So some of these are handmade cards that they'll press with white flowers that are called snowdrops. Other ones are more traditional cards, and some men will give and all right, here's my best attempt at this, a Gekebrev, Gaekkebrev. It's an anonymous joke letter that contains a funny poem or a rhyme that's written on this intricately cut paper. And so the neat thing here is that they give these anonymously, but if the recipient guesses who the sender is, then she will get an Easter egg from that sender later in the year, whenever Easter comes around.
It's kind of a fun way to stretch out like two holidays into one, right? From what I understand, the cut the cut paper is kind of like and really intricate, like not necessarily the same shape as a snowflake, but a lot of like extra work of cutting and stuff like that. I wonder if they sell them or if like there's a closet class of teaching you how to cut paper, intricate paper for your joke letter. I don't know.
And if there's not a place you can buy them, there's your market, get rich quick, right, Katie? We can corner the market
Is
on
there-
it.
That's right.
I think that's pretty neat that, you're gonna be a little bit of Sherlock Holmes in there of trying to guess who the sender is.
Yeah, I think that's a kind of a cool little like tradition. I think that that would be a fun way to start your Valentine's to have like a secret admirer.
Brushing off your detective skills.
That's right. So Finland and Estonia, how did they celebrate Valentine's Day?
So it's a little bit less formal. This is Friends Day, and people will give cards to loved ones, friends, and neighbors. And although it is a popular date for getting engaged,
I kind of picture maybe it being like the friends part of it being like our gift exchanges when with like our elementary friends and stuff like that in class where you exchange Valentine's Day cards and fill up your little envelope or your little box with Valentines from all your friends. I remember like getting those as a little girl and like coming home and spreading them all out and then trying to like figure out the cryptic messages that were sent to me with the conversation hearts.
fair. Okay, does this All right, he wrote this on the card. It says this. Does he really mean that, or is there more to this?
And I
And
remember like spending a ton of time the night before Valentine's Day making sure that the boys I didn't necessarily like, I didn't give them anything on my conversation hearts that were be mine or anything like that. So
yeah, sorting through and make sure that, and then the ones that you did kind of like, that you sent him a little nicer one. And
yep,
oh, this one's
that's
chipped.
right.
All right, I'm gonna give it to that guy. Oh, this one's perfect. Okay, she gets that. Now heading a little bit farther south into Bulgaria, they on February 14th it is San Trifon Zarazon, which is Winemaker's Day, and you celebrate by sharing a few glasses of local wine.
So instead of roses, it's grapevines in Bulgaria.
So all the better, right? So it since traditional going out to a nice fancy dinner and sharing a glass of wine for Valentine's Day. So why not have it?
Right. And Bulgaria has some beautiful, beautiful hills and valleys. And I guess the sunsets in Bulgaria are just amazing. What a perfect place to experience love and everything else that Valentine's Day brings, I guess.
And just in general, Eastern Europe and the Balkans, that area is it it is underrated.
So
It
we've
is
talked
very much underrated.
We talked in our one of our other podcasts about on the way waterways and their river cruises. Any of the spots that we've discussed in Europe, these are spots that you can go and visit with one of those river cruises. So the chance to go and see all of these different places and on one of their great ships would be probably one of the best Valentine's presents that you could possibly get or give.
So with one exception, they do not go to Italy with
Yeah, they
the
don't go to
on the
Italy.
waterways.
Yeah, that one with that one caveat. But you could go to Italy before and then or after.
Those extending your European trip, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I fully recommend that you go to Italy before your other trips. And if you're doing any other European cruise, whether it's a river cruise or Mediterranean cruise or North Sea cruise or whatever, go early so you have time to adjust to the time zones and get rid of your jet lag before you can really dive
And if you go
into
to Italy first, then you can enjoy and indulge in all of the pastas and then walk it off on in your other destinations,
exactly.
right? So should we head to Africa?
Let's do Romania and Slovenia real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was excited about Africa, but I'm Romania and
We'll get
Slovenia
it.
are awesome too.
So Romania, they celebrated a little bit late. So they are February 24th, so a week after. And actually, that is one of my wedding anniversaries. So my wife and I love each other so much. We got married 3 times.
I love
So
that.
yeah, well, she being from Indonesia, we had one wedding that was over there with her family. We had one wedding here that was for my family, and the February 24th one was actually just a civil ceremony that was actually performed by the dad of a kid I went to high school with, who was a magistrate, and we knew pretty well. But we needed to get all the paperwork done because we did the Indonesian wedding first before we did the U.S. wedding. So we just want to make sure that it was all official, and they're a little bit strict there. That technically my wife and I could not stay in the same hotel room unless we were married. So we wanted to make sure we had paperwork just in case anything went wrong with what happened in Indonesia. So
So the question is, Matt, do you buy 3 gifts?
no, we pick one day that is our wedding anniversary to celebrate.
Oh,
So,
I might have to talk to your wife about milking that for all it's worth and getting 3 gifts out of
well, that was also sort of
it.
my family's thing of, okay, 3 weddings. Yeah, we're doing this once. Okay. Once a year, you get to celebrate this. We're not, you're not getting all kinds of presents. Yeah, we tried. It didn't go over well. So, but for this, it's a combination in Romania. It's a combination of a celebration of love and the coming of spring. So that's why they push it back a little bit so they can bring in that spring element to get a little bit better weather. And young couples will pick wildflowers and wash their faces in snow to prepare for spring. Although I'm not exactly sure where. this is amazing. They have snow there and wildflowers, unless they're like, taking the snow and they put it in their freezer and save it just in case.
I don't know. I'd be okay about the wildflowers, but not maybe not as much about washing my face in snow. I'm not I'm not into that.
Well, my nephew did the snow angel challenge. So he went out and did a snow angel with no shirt on. And then my daughter saw that. I was like, can I try that? Like, no, keep the shirt on, please. But we let her go out in just like a t-shirt and she did it for a little bit. And then her friend was over and wanted to do that too. And her mom was like, no, no, no. And the little girl was out the door. She's like, you don't have clothes to change into. So there's 4 and 5 year olds for you. But in Romania, the February 24th is also a good day, popular day to propose. And then Slovenia, our last spot in Europe. February 14th, it's traditionally known as the first day of spring when work will start in the fields and the vineyards. So, being a little farther south, they get a little bit, spring coming a little bit earlier, so they can do that. And St. Valentine is one of the patron saints of spring, good health, and beekeepers. So, right up your alley, Katie.
Yeah, yeah, buzz buzz.
And recently, couples have begun to recognize this as a day of love. And it's they also celebrate on February 22nd, which is St. Vincent's Day, or March 12th, which is St. Gregory's Day. And that's usually more of the love day that is celebrated in Slovenia. So they're transitioning. Now you get 3 days to celebrate. So I could dig that.
Kind of like three wedding days.
See? Perfect.
Yeah.
And actually, the amazing thing there is February 22nd and March 12th. That our one wedding anniversary is February 24th. The other one is March 14th.
You guys
So,
didn't know it. You were doing good.
see, 2 days late on that. Although the other amazing thing is that besides doing the travel advisor stuff, I also teach math, and my wife also teaches math. And March 14th is Pi Day.
Right.
So it was meant to be. All right, so now we get to catch back up. Katie's just a woman who's ahead of her time.
Oh, I'm
Going to
sorry. I was
Africa.
excited about Africa because again, it's about chocolate.
Yeah, in Ghana, it's National Chocolate Day is February 14th. And this tradition started in 2007. So it's not too old. And of course, there's a reason for this. That Ghana is one of the world's largest producers of cocoa or cocoa, to make your chocolate. And they have concerts and other performances, and restaurants offer special chocolate themed menus.
And
So
you can do a guided tour through their cocoa farms, and they'll teach you how chocolate goes from a bean to a bar. And then there's all kinds of decadent desserts that you can get on Valentine's Day.
I think Hershey, Pennsylvania might be wanting to take on this idea too.
Yeah.
And as a side note, I hear Katie just booked a trip to Ghana for next week.
That'd be a cool trip. Yeah.
Anything around chocolate,
Yep. You had me at
that's
chocolate.
not wrong. Now, if we go to South Africa, they will celebrate with flowers and gifts, and someone will pin the name of their love interest to the sleeve of their shirt. So, I guess wearing your heart on your sleeve type thing.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cute, right? Like you pin your crush's name on your sleeve, and if you happen upon them, there's kind of like a little bit of charm in the honesty and openness of it all.
I guess secret admirers don't remain secret for too long with that.
Oh, you'd have to be really brave and bold to do that, right?
It's, yeah, definitely. And
Kind of
this,
like a not so like permanent like tattoo of the person you're interested in.
well, that also goes back to grade school to even high school of you have that person that you really like and you write their name on your hand or on your arm or whatever else
Yeah.
or on your notebook.
Yeah. Or if you're a really weird girl, you write your first name and their last name together to see if it'll work. Yeah.
I think just about every girl in my high school did that.
Yep.
They
Yep.
kept misspelling Schrader too. It wasn't even close too. It was like the names of the other kids. It looked like the names of the other kids in the class. It's like, what do no, you're spelling it wrong. No, now this tradition of wearing the your secret crush's name on your sleeve goes to the ancient Roman sacrificial festival of Lupercalia. At least I'm assuming that's how it is. And that was done on February 15th, so close in the date. And women who were wanting to become pregnant would hope to touch the sacrificial animal's hide for good luck. So they're getting close to it, that type of thing, and touching with the sleeve. So
Yeah.
I guess there's a closer tie-in with that. I don't know. It seems a
And
stretch
like
to me.
traditions, right? Traditions come from other like ancient things that and then kind of become more modern day takes on them. So yeah.
Half of our Christmas traditions come from ancient things too. So with the and that's where Halloween comes from as well.
Yep.
So nothing wrong with it. Again, Halloween, another holiday with candy. So heading to South America, Chile. So typical gifts of flowers, chocolates, cards, usual stuff. But sometimes gifts of jewelry and surprise travel plans. So I don't know. I might be a little biased, but I think travel is the best gift. No, it is a great gift because it leads to these great experiences and memories that you're going to create along the way.
And you don't have to worry about picking out the wrong size or them being offended that you bought them a small appliance or a vacuum or it's a perfect thing. Travel is a really good and like even just like talking about all these great places and just like a simple thing like Valentine's Day and how they all have something that like is meaningful and special and makes the holiday just like so much like part of their culture. It's just a really cool thing to talk about and a really good chance to travel just brings you it makes the world seem smaller, but the experiences seem large.
Well put. Again, the return of poetic Katie.
So
So
I love the idea. I guess in Chile, the streets, they decorate the streets with red balloons. And kind of like dinners are kind of a tradition there. But they also like to like you were talking about like travel. A lot of the times they'll plan a trip to at one of the deserts and like look through the and have like a romantic night under a starlit sky. Just kind of like I like the idea. Chileans they celebrate with vibrant urban cult celebrations and natural wonders, and Chile is like a country that is kind of a juxtaposition of urban and natural wonders that you can't see anywhere else.
and it's not just the streets; that they'll also decorate malls and other places and um, different shops as you're going along, and they'll have the red balloons. There's also flowers are put up and other things along those lines. And they extend the celebration for as much as a week on either side of Valentine's Day. So this is a 2 week celebration. So Chileans, they know how to party.
That's right.
And I do want to add one thing though, that if you are going to give travel as a gift, is do not have all the travel plans ready when you give the gift because planning the trip is often part of the fun. So, what I strongly recommend is whenever you give the gift of travel, it's telling the other person, hey, guess what? We're going to go on a trip. And then you let them help you plan it. And then that's even more fun for them that they get to build the excitement because that's part of the fun of going on a trip is the anticipation and the excitement you build and the planning and the excitement you get of let's go here and let's go here and let's do this and let's do that and all the other fun stuff.
I absolutely love it when my clients come in and I get to meet one part of the traveling party and then everybody comes together and we start to get to make plans and we start to put the pieces together and how everybody has like a certain piece of the puzzle that they want to make sure that it fits right in the right spot. And I kind of help to put those pieces together. And then the picture after it's all done is just awesome. It's amazing how you can get a lot of different personalities, a lot of different needs and wants, and you can put them all together. and a good travel advisor makes sure that the picture that you end up creating is absolutely wonderful and everybody loves it.
Being a travel advisor is akin to being an artist in painting.
It
So,
is.
and also I ask your, puzzle putter together if that's a name for something, and making things fit. So
Yep,
again, this is why playing Tetris all those years when I was younger really comes into play.
that's right.
That whenever you're packing to go on your trip too. So in Colombia and Guatemala on February 14th, it is the Day of Love and Friendship. So this is a much less romantic day than what we have in America. That friends will give anonymous gifts this day, and in Guatemala City, the residents partake in a parade for senior citizens while wearing bright colors and traditional Mayan garb. So that's pretty neat. You're bringing in um, multiple generations of this and kind of making a community celebration.
I like that. And I bet the colors are beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And now let's hop on our jet and fly to Asia.
I'm
And
glad we're on a jet because if we were flying ourselves, my arms would be tired by now.
absolutely, I thought I was the one who's supposed to tell the get dad jokes on this.
Yeah, it's been one of those days.
So in Japan, they get a 2 day celebration
I
that
love this, Matt. I love this idea. I am so excited. Oh, and probably there's a reason why, but I'll let you tell
I
why.
think the reason why is because there's chocolate involved.
Nope, that's not the reason why. Go ahead.
Okay, so on February 14th, women give chocolate to others, and they'll give a Giri Choco, Giri, and then dash Choco. That's given to their male friends and coworkers. And then the Hanmi Choco, which is translates to true feeling chocolate, is given to those that they care about more. So if you get the special chocolates, you know you're kind of in with them.
That's right. So I'm not all over the fact of sharing chocolates. I don't want to share them. But what I like to do is I like the idea of fast forwarding to March 14th, which is White Day, where Japanese men are returning the favor. So this is great for guys because you can kind of figure out, you could have a whole month to think about who you need to buy gifts for because you've already had your preview on February 14th. But the men return the favors with gifts that usually are even more extravagant. So that's right, even more extravagant. I like this idea. I like the fact that I have to give just a chocolate or two and I get an even more extravagant gift 14 or a month later on March 14th. I like this idea. And I also like the idea that it sets you up that you know that you're going to have to give a gift on March 14th. There's no getting out of it. You've already been previewed. You've had the preview to the gift giving. You know that you are on the hook for it. It is going to happen. This is a good idea. I like this. I would like to adopt this idea.
I hope you like white chocolate though. Personally, I'm a fan. Well, was a fan when I could have it, but I liked it. So, and again, March 14th, good day for it. And there are estimates that the Japanese chocolatiers make half of their yearly income from these Valentine's Day sales. So that says something about how popular and how much chocolate you're getting.
For sure.
So although I don't know how that'll be for a guy if the girl you really like just gave you one of the Gary chocolates or
Yeah,
The Gary chocos, and you're like,
I know, but
should
see,
I go all out and
you
try to
have
win
a
her
whole
over, or
month to win her back. In a month, you can win her back. You
you
can
have to
make her
pay?
feel, yeah, you can make her feel but guilty. Extravagant. Extravagant is the key word here. We're looking for extravagant on the 14th of March. That's what we're looking for.
I guess you'd have to pay attention to who she gave the Hanmi chocos to, and then find out what they're gonna buy her, and then you have to one up it too.
Yep, that's right.
So now in South Korea, they do a similar thing here of a 2 day celebration, although it's a little bit different. That same thing, just different, right? that on February 14th, they typical gifts of flowers and other things, but they will also partake in the Japanese custom where women will give men chocolate, and men will return the favor 1 month later on White Day. But then on April 14th, there's also Black Day, and this is where the people who are single will gather and eat. Okay, Jajangmyeon, Jajangmyeon, and it's a noodle dish that's topped with a black sauce.
So here's the thing. I wonder if in South Korea, if you play your cards wrong, if you end up celebrating all three of these days. So you get your gift on the 14th. She gives you your gift on the 14th. You forget the word extravagant on the 14th of March, and you end up alone with your noodle dish with black salt sauce on the 14th of April.
Katie, the story is in your imagination. I love it.
I'm telling you, it could be a whole thing. It could be a very stressful 3 months for you.
Oh man. All right. So moving on to Taiwan, they do February 14th, but there's also July 7th. So they spread this out. So you get things, roughly every 6 months. All right. So it's like 5 months and then 7 months, but still. But men will give elaborate bouquets to their loved ones with the color and number of flowers representing an important message. So there's a whole code to this that you have to, whenever you're going to give them to the person that means something to you, you have to pick the right number of flowers and the right color to send the message that you want to send.
Oh, those poor florists in Taiwan.
Oh,
Can
yeah.
you
I bet they're
imagine you order a bouquet and it was only supposed to have 104 roses in it, and you give a bouquet of 106 roses, and then you're in it for the rest of your life because you asked some girl to marry you and you didn't mean to. And the florist, it would be just a big mess.
Yeah, so I guess that's what I wonder how much these flowers cost too, because you were paying
Yeah.
them for accuracy on this. So,
Yes, like
yeah,
you'd have to take off the socks and shoes of everybody in the store to make sure that you got 106 exactly 106 roses in that bouquet.
106 or 108.
Maybe my 100,
Give or take.
yeah, whatever.
106, 108, whatever it takes.
Well, I'm sure it means something.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, and imagine being the person who is receiving it and you're counting them. One, two, three. This one's kind of wilted. Does it count? Or this whole other thing too, he loves me not type thing.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, over 100 of them. Oh, I know how much they cost just for a dozen here on Valentine's Day.
I bet they're gorgeous. I bet that's really a cool thing though. Get that
I have to
many.
take out a mortgage.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, I guess that's one thing. If they're gonna give you that many roses, they got money. So,
That's
or they
right.
don't have any because they just spend it all on your roses.
That's right.
So, in the Philippines, the on February 14th, the government sponsors mass Valentine's Day marriage ceremonies for dozens or even hundreds of couples at one time. So, I guess that's romantic if you're I don't know. We had a relatively small wedding, so I can't say anything about the mass ones.
So from what I understand, the tradition is partly practical because mass weddings allow couples who may not be able to afford a private ceremony to get married with legal representation. So it's often free or low cost. And the local governments and churches, they organize the events, providing everything from marriage license to like the officiants. So they get out of having to pay for big weddings and a lot of money. And so it's an accessible way for couples to formalize their commitment. But they also are a way of reflecting in the Filipino culture their deeply communal spirit. And so marriage isn't just about two individuals. I love this. Marriage isn't about two people, it's about families and communities and their shared celebration. So tying the knot on Valentine's Day alongside dozens or even hundreds of other couples makes the occasion even more special because you're marking the day with love and unity.
And there's no bridezillas. because you're not
No.
going to go over the top with your wedding on that and then that
It's
type of thing.
so it's so neat. Like you get to like I love the idea that so many brides and so many grooms are sharing their special day with so many other people. Like they're starting their story off together and sharing that day with a lot of other people that are starting their lives off together.
I bet it makes remembering people's anniversaries really easy too.
That's right.
Hey, did you? We were married on February 14th. No way. So
We
were
were the
we.
couple that was 4 rows down from you on the left.
Yeah, I remember your dress. It was so pretty.
Yep. I like it.
And actually, this is with the cost of some weddings nowadays. It was pretty funny that whenever my older sister got married, that she didn't go. Oh, she wasn't too elaborate. She was very practical. But still, my dad said, "All right, we can go through this whole thing, or I can give you $10,000 and you can elope." And now my sister says we should have taken the $10,000.
I kind of like when I think about this too, I think about how like here, like if you showed up and for your wedding day and there were dozens and dozens of couples that you didn't know, you'd be like, oh, but how neat is it? Like I kind of like that idea that they are all like that their culture makes it like a big celebration with all each other and it's not like a competition or I just it seems like kind of a neat way to like create community within like couples that are just starting out. I like it.
Although you might have to have some strategic positioning of where you're at. It's like we can't stand next to that couple. They got the same dress. No, let's go the other side. So, moving into Thailand, they get take on a bit of an adventurous spirit whenever on February 14th. That there's skydiving, bungee jumping, and underwater weddings have become fairly common. So you're getting your adrenaline rush as if getting married isn't enough of the thing to get your heart beating and racing and feel like your knees are going to buckle. Hey, let's jump out. Well, that's a good thing. If you're falling free falling while you're getting married, your knees won't buckle on you. So guaranteed.
I guess in Thailand, they were looking at a way to promote the Train Providence as a romantic wedding destination. And so they started in like 1996, where they were like, come and check out our beautiful place, our coastal area, check out our crystal clear waters, um, and get married underwater in a wedding ceremony. And it kind of just like took off from there. The event includes a traditional Thai wedding procession, and the couple descends into the water where they sign their marriage certificate, even in a waterproof folder. It seems kind of quirky and stuff, but it also symbolizes love of adventure and embracing the unexpected, which is for sure like what marriage is about, is a lot of unexpected twists and turns and taking the plunge together, literally and figuratively. So couples who love to travel and love the ocean, it's kind of an amazing and an ultimate way to start their forever story.
And you combine the three together. Or on the airplane, you jump out with a bungee cord, and after you spring back up, you cut it, then you skydive down and land in the water to finish your wedding off.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've done two of those. I've gone skydiving and I've gone scuba diving. I've never done bungee jumping though.
No, I've bungee jumped.
So yeah, I would do it at some point. I just need to plan in a good place. We were actually in this summer when we were in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia at the big Sunway Lagoon, the big water park. It's like the biggest one in, I don't know if it's the biggest water park in Asia now. It used to be, or it was one of the biggest in the world at one point. That they had a chance you could do bungee jumping, but it cost extra money, and we were at that point spent out on extra things we had to pay for. So let's jump to into places that celebrate at different times of the year. So we're gonna go to Wales, and I'm partly Welsh, so yay. They get a head start on Valentine's Day that they celebrate on January 25th, which is Saint Dwinwyn's Wednesday. Dwine Wednesday, Dwynwen. I think they need a few more vowels in there. but he is the patron saint of lovers, so it's appropriate. Men will traditionally give their significant others hand carved wooden spoons. So you were complaining about getting an appliance, Katie. Here's where you can get something that's really useful.
They're like really, really intricate, beautiful, like works of art. They
Yeah.
have like
So
they're like a storybook carved into a
it,
spoon.
this goes back to whenever lovesick Welsh sailors would carve designs into their spoons and they would give it to their lovers upon their return. So they had months and months to make these elaborate, intricate, beautiful looking carved spoons. And then they hand it off to their lovers when they finally saw them again. So just hope you don't mess up and like cut it in half. Then you're eating with this tiny little nub of a spoon while you're gone. But I like that because the handmade stuff. I mean, even with your kids that make the little macaroni things for school and bring it home, the handmade the person took time and effort to make something with their own hands and by themselves specifically for you. It's a one of a kind thing. It's not just hey they went to a store and bought it. That this is really neat.
And they've like exchanged these spoons for centuries. Most of them have like a hearts or locks or keys that symbolize love in them. And it's a timeless tradition in Wales. It's really a neat way of carrying on with history and the traditions of the past.
In the Czech Republic on May 1st, young couples will make a pilgrimage to the statue of Karel Hynek Macha, who is a famous Czech poet, and this is in Prague. And the statue stands near a grove of cherry trees under which the lovers will kiss for good luck. So I guess it's bringing, if you're really desperate or, if you're in trouble, May 1st is May Day. So Mayday, Mayday, we're going down. We need to get the kiss in.
It's kind of a cool thing though. Like I imagine a big line wrapped around all of the cherry orchard.
Mm-hmm. Heading over to South America in Brazil, they have 2 days that they will celebrate of June 12th and June 13th. So June 12th is Dia dos Namorados. So it's the Day of Lovers. And couples will exchange gifts, cards, candy, normal stuff like that. And some single women will perform simpatias or simpatias that are spiritual rituals to get in the good graces of Saint Anthony, in which the next day, June 13th, is the feast of Saint Anthony of uh, Padua, Padua, who is the patron saint of unmarried women. He's also sort of the patron saint of marriage because he helps the unmarried women find a husband. He's also the patron saint of lost items, lost people, and lost souls. So, I guess it all ties together of, you're unmarried, you've lost your future husband, so you pray to find him.
So I kind of dived into this to see what the rituals were that they performed, and they seem they're fun and quirky, but they're also really sweet and like such a neat way of like kind of like exhibiting faith to like find your perfect match. So they do the upside down St. Anthony, where it's believed that if you turn the statue of St. Anthony upside down in a glass of water inside the freezer, or you can bury him in the yard, that once the saint delivers a husband, he'll be placed back in his rightful place. They do the page of the Bible trick where some women randomly open the Bible at midnight and point to a verse with their eyes closed. The first name they see in the text is said to be the name of their future husband. They do the paper under the pillow on the night before. The women write the names of several potential partners on slips of paper and place them under their pillow. In the morning, they pull out one slip at random, and that name is believed to be their future spouse. And then they ask St. Anthony for signs. They don't have if they don't have a specific person in mind. Sometimes they ask St. Anthony for a sign for the future husband, such as a dream of the soulmate or their initials somewhere unexpected.
We need to combine the Brazilians with the Italians, and looking out the window and seeing the first guy you see, that type of thing. And now Brazil has nothing against February 14th as being a day of celebration of love. The problem is it just falls a little bit too close to the week-long Carnival celebration, and Mardi Gras in that area. And sometimes depending on when Mardi Gras is, it might be beforehand. So February 14th is during Lent and, the fast and abstinence things and all that. So it's just better to push it off into the summer. Less conflict. And plus, you're gonna have Mardi Gras anyway, so you have your celebration then. Now in Israel, this will happen in late July or throughout August. It goes on with Tu B'Av, so it's the 15th of the uh, Jewish month of Av, Av. I guess it's Av, Av, and that lovers will exchange flowers and heart-shaped gifts to renew their love. And it's a tradition about rebirth and new beginnings. And so it changes with the date because the Jewish calendar goes on a lunar schedule, so it will vary depending on when full moons are and things along those lines. In China, they celebrate in August. It's the Qixi Festival or Qixi Festival, Qixi, Qixi. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I've heard it both ways. So this is the seventh day of the seventh month of China's lunar calendar, and again, the actual date will move throughout the month. Again, lunar calendar type stuff, and this is based on the ancient Chinese story from the Han Dynasty, which lasted from 206 BC to 220 AD, about a forbidden love affair between a celestial and immortal weaver, who is the daughter of the goddess of heaven, and a mortal man. So, backstory on this quickly is that the two secretly get married, but the goddess mom breaks them up, and eventually the creates the Milky Way to separate these two. But once a year, magpies from the earth fly up and make a bridge for the two to meet, and this is on the seventh day of the seventh month. So the whole celebration is the celebration of these two lovers who eventually get to meet again. Their one day of the year.
So I guess the story has inspired countless poems and paintings and cultural traditions. The festival is a time in China to celebrate, for lovers to celebrate and exchange gifts, and they write heartfelt messages and celebrate romance. And then some of the couples, they even like kind of embrace the whole celestial idea, and they go stargazing. Um, and they look for certain stars, which are said to represent the star-crossed lovers in the sky.
And going stargazing is a good idea no matter what, especially if you can go to one of the places that are like the dark places that have a limit on light pollution, where you can really see the night sky the way you're supposed, and you actually see the Milky Way. Unlike most of the time, what I see is just a few stars.
I guess this story, part of the reason why it's so endearing to the people of China is that it's a story about how love, even when challenged by fate, endures across time and space. Kind of a sweet way to like celebrate a holiday.
Yeah, and tying in the weaver part of this is that some women will practice weaving and carving intricate signs on melon skins to bring good health from Zinu, Zhino, or Jinu, who is the name of the weaver that in the story. So that's pretty neat that they're bringing back the weaving thing and tying it all together. Then our last stop will be Spain on October 9th, which most of Spain will celebrate the feast of Saint Dionysus with parades and festivals, and men will create macadoras, which are small marzipan figurines, and then they give them to their female companions as a sign of love. So again, this is going back to um, like the hand carved spoon type thing of creating something special.
So many cool traditions, so many cool places to go and visit, so many things. I think it's kind of neat to just learn about different cultures and stuff. I hope that like our listeners enjoyed this because I did. I thought it was really cool to talk about all these different destinations, places that we can plan trips for you too, and how they celebrate the celebrate love and the holiday of Valentine's Day.
And the other really cool thing is that we think of Valentine's Day as February 14th, but if you're traveling to some of these countries, at different times of the year, you can still witness some of these celebrations and festivals, and you can actually partake in some of these if you either are fortunate enough to be traveling at that time or strategic enough to be traveling to these places at those times.
Sure.
So we all know. So, Katie, did you decide on your favorite? Is it Ghana or is it Japan
I love
or
all
is
of
it Korea? I don't know.
I actually really loved all of them. I was just thinking about, so this is one of the reasons why you want to plan a trip with a travel advisor. Because here's the thing, there's always some kind of hidden gem. There's always some kind of story. There's always some kind of tradition. There's always something that you want to learn about the places that you're going. And we are happy to help you tie those stories together, put the pieces together to make your trip great and to kind of give you like a heads up of, hey, this is what's going to be celebrated during this time, or this is for sure a place that you're going to want to check out, or this is the place that you want to go get chocolate from, or this is the best place to go and have a wonderful dinner, or this is the best place to explore the city as a local. These are all things that like gems of stories and culture and things like that. And we help you to discover those so that you're not searching endlessly to find information yourself.
And that's one of the main reasons to use a travel advisor. It's that, sure, could you plan these trips on your own? Absolutely. There's enough resources out there. But whenever you use us, we're the ones who do all that research for you. And we're the ones who spend the hours looking things up and booking things and waiting on hold and making phone calls. So it's convenience.
For sure.
Plus, there's all the other stuff that we know because we get special training and have access to a lot more resources.
That's right.
So, Katie, what is your travel tip for today?
I think my travel tip is that I think that it's a wonderful thing to discover the world. I think it's a great, like a very great, um, dare I say, privilege to become immersed in different cultures and different ways of life. I think that we discover that we have a lot more in common than what we think with people of the world, and it's important for us to be cognizant of other people and other cultures while visiting those places. And that's where travel agents, we really do, we don't just book the trip. Anybody can book a trip, but we help you to understand the intricacies of the trip and help you to discover the gems that are there.
And basically, you're getting the most out, help you get the most out of your trip.
For sure.
And just no matter where you're going, I think there is something romantic just about travel. The spending time with people that you love, sometimes in some a little bit stressful situations that you really get to know the other person. And that's where you really make these wonderful memories is traveling. Hey, you remember that time when our flight got delayed, so many hours and we, you know, sat on the floor, we were, throwing pennies in a cup just to pass the time and whatever else is those little stories, that's where you get your memories from, especially from unique situations. But my travel tip goes off of that things that are romantic, quote unquote romantic, that's very subjective. That there's a traditional and stereotypical romantic gestures like the flowers and the candlelit dinners and watching the sunset on the beach. But being romantic is about knowing what the other person likes and doing something special with them. That love is about communication and understanding and sharing. So truly knowing what the other person likes means you're paying attention to them, that you're listening to them, and that ultimately that you care about them.
I like that. It's pretty deep. It's a good way to end it. I approve.
So, if you have a destination or experience that you'd like to have us discuss on the Where Yinz Go podcast, or if you'd like to share your favorite destination or travel tip, feel free to contact us. We'd love to hear your ideas and feedback. Katie, how can people get a hold of you?
Katie at ultimatevacationadvisor.com.
For me, my social media is at Matt with DBD on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Email is matt, M-A-T-T, at dreamsbydesigntravel.com. All this information will be in the episode description. So if you'd like to contact us, book a trip, or have any questions, you can get a hold of us. You don't have to write it down now or have a photographic memory or worry about spelling. So, Katie, this was fun.
I like
And
this. Great.
inside baseball stuff. This was Katie's idea to travel around the world and see what Valentine's Day is like in other places. So
Yeah,
definitely you.
I totally got my history geek on.
Yeah,
I liked it. It was good.
we so if we're pulling out more baseball analogies, we hit this one out of the park, or you hit this one out of the park with the idea, definitely. So thank you, Katie. So everyone, please like, follow, subscribe, leave a review, tell a friend. If you like what you heard, please pass it along. We'd like to grow our audience and spread the joy that you're and the fun that you have listening to us. Please join us next time. We're heading out in that. We'll see you later.